We got some bad news for Ubisoft ahead of the launch of Assassin's Creed Shadows because apparently copies of the game were leaked. And I'm not just talking about like some plot points or maybe like a few digital demos or anything like that. Like, no, it's literally physical copies of the game. Apparently went out and some people were picking up those and selling them online. Other people are actually posting screen grabs and video that they've recorded of this title. We don't know what happened, but it's not good news for Ubisoft because this is something that the company really needed to have be successful for them. And if this has any impact on the launch of the game, then this could be devastating news for the company. But let's look at this article from The Gamer that goes into more detail about what actually happened with this leak. Physical copies of Assassin's Creed Shadows appears to have been sold early, as some are already playing the game. At least one of these players has started sharing screenshots and videos of their gameplay online, as fans fear that spoilers will leak long before the game's launch. And yeah, there's no doubt if people are already playing the game, then there are going to be spoilers. And if it's not very good, because that's one of the things about games that from Ubisoft recently is that they try to keep a lid on things up until the release of the game because they don't want to have any negativity surrounding it. But if it's already out there in the public, then these spoilers are going to get out there. And if it doesn't look good for it, then they're going to have a tough time keeping a lid on that. And most likely it will impact the actual sales of the game upon its release. This all comes almost a month before the release day of March 20th. So this is a major issue for Ubisoft. It's unclear just how many copies are out in the wild right now, but listings are being found on online marketplaces. Says some have already shared screenshots. Okay. User Danny Stevens shared that they had a physical copy earlier this evening, showing a picture of the box art and an installation screen on PS5. While this wouldn't be proof enough, they have since started sharing images and videos of the game in action. So it certainly seems that this is the real deal. They claim to have picked the game up on Facebook Marketplace, although it's unclear what the original source is. Others appear to have found it being resold online too, with one listing on Mercari claiming to have access to multiple copies of the game. Although they have all sold out, each copy was sold for $100. And you can see this screen grab right here of that listing of Assassin's Creed Shadows games. And if you just saw this, I would just think like, okay, they just printed out that label, put it on a case and are trying to scam people out of it. But it looks like this is actually legitimate with some of the other information that's been coming out on it. Ubisoft has not commented on these leaks, nor the store listings for physical copies of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Danny Stevens says they don't want to share any spoilers, but with multiple copies seemingly out in the wild, it's possible that the next leaker won't be as considerate towards fans. And I don't know if this is the person who shared these archived videos, though, because there are some going around. Some people have posted the videos and have since deleted them, but with Web Archive, it's forever. I'm not going to show too much, just to kind of show these brief glimpses of something that's been recorded right now. Stuff that we haven't seen, because I know there has been people posting who got like advanced copies and were doing their streams of it. This isn't footage from that, or at least you can compare it to what has been shown in that and see that it's not necessarily the same thing. There's another one right here. So going by this, it looks like these are genuine copies of the game that are being sold right now. The question is exactly, how did this happen? How did physical copies get released, especially since the game is technically not supposed to be finished yet? I think a lot of that could come down to printed copies of the game have already been produced, and a lot of the updates and the fixes that they're doing between now and the time of the release is basically going to be like day one patches and other things like that. But this article from that Park Place talking about it is speculating on issues with the supply chain as to how this actually went about. So talking about the development, Ubisoft's supply chain under fire. The leak raises serious concerns about Ubisoft's ability to secure its supply chain and prevent unauthorized distribution. Whether these physical copies made it into players' hands due to manufacturing mishap, retail branches, or other distribution failures remains unclear. Now, let me know in the comments, because I've never worked at I never worked at these retail places that sell games. I'm assuming that they have them in stock, not necessarily, they don't get them like the day that they're launched. I imagine that they have them in stock at least a week or two or something in advance, and then it's at the time that they go on sale. That's the first day that they actually put them out for the general public. Now, is this a situation where one retail store or someone decided to get a bunch of copies, or maybe they ordered their copies and they saw that they had a couple extra or some extras that they didn't actually have on their receipt for that? So they're thinking like, well, since they don't have a record of us having these, some rogue employee decided to take them and sell them. Or was it someone at the actual places that produce these copies? Did they get a hold of some extra ones and sell them? We don't know. I'm thinking it might just be something with the retail branch of this, or at least that seems most feasible. But either way, this is bad news for Ubisoft if this is something that did get out, because if that was the case where a retail outlet decided to sell copies early, well, then it could be traced back to them and they would face the consequences of it. If they sent extra copies to them, well, then still the employee at that retail outlet is culpable in this, but also so is Ubisoft for having such an error where they're sending extra copies to a store like this. So we'll just have to wait and see if this actually ever does get determined. Regardless, the leak has already caused significant damage to Ubisoft's launch strategy and could severely impact day one sales, especially if some of the people who are playing it now are saying that the game isn't very good and people are getting spoiled on it and don't like what they're hearing. That could impact the sales as well. Now, on the other hand, if it turns out the game is really good and there's a lot of positive word of mouth and the spoilers that are coming out are something that actually interests gamers, then maybe it could help it, but I really don't expect that. I think this is going to cause more damage than benefit. This isn't the kind of setback Ubisoft can afford right now. The company has been relying heavily on Assassin's Creed Shadows to generate much needed revenue and financial instability amid financial instability and a string of underperforming titles. With copies circulating on the black market and spoilers spreading like wildfire, Ubisoft now faces the uphill battle of controlling piracy, protecting its launch, and salvaging whatever hype remains around Shadows. Not only that, but also there's the aspect of what are the shareholders for Ubisoft going to think about this, because they've already kind of lost a lot of faith in the company and the higher ups at the company. And having a screw up like this, even if it's not 100% their fault, is still a stain on them at this point. And this is something that they really can't afford right now. So even if it doesn't affect the sales, it's still going to affect the company in a negative way in some way, shape, or form. But let me know what you think in the comment section. How do you think this actually happened? How did physical copies get released early? And not only that, but how are they actually able to access that? I mean, even if you pop in a physical copy, how is the actual game live so that they can play it right now? Or is it really one of those things that there's just a lot of errors going on right now and Ubisoft is responsible for some of them? And also, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share the video out there, because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.